Good morning, Seekers. Hi, today I'm going to be reading The British Are Coming. Quickly, I'm going to go over 3 words that you're going to need to know from this passage. They have them defined at the bottom of the page. A shilling is a former unit of British money. Like we have nickels, dimes, and quarters. Well, those people that were British used shillings. The colonies are the British settlements here in North America. We are now America, but originally we were the colonies. And then a sconce is a candlestick that hung on the wall. So I'm just going to get right into reading the story. It was April 18th. Winter still hung in the air, but the snows had melted. The inside of the cabin was warm, and the fire in the hearth made an orange glow. Mary and Jonah looked forward to the evenings. This was the time of day that their parents sat and talked, and Mary and Jonah listened in. "There's more talk of war," their father said. He went into town every Tuesday, all the way to Lexington, to bring in some of his carvings to sell. Even though he had given up life as a sailor and settled down to farm when he came to America, he still liked to carve things as sailors do to pass the time. On a good week, he could earn a few shillings. Once, he bought peppermint sweets at the general store. Their mother, who was born in the colonies, had mixed feelings about the war. Like many others whose parents and grandparents had been born in New England, she didn't think of herself as British, but still, she didn't like the idea of war. "People will be hurt, and if we don't win, things could get very bad for us. They hang traitors, you know." Their father nodded, and even though he had been born in England and still sounded English, he was more inclined towards freedom. Can a king thousands of miles away from life here?" he asked. As their parents talked, Mary and Jonah gathered up the wax that had fallen on the table. They scraped wax from the sconces that were nailed to the wall. They would put these scraps into a ball of wax that their mother kept under the wash basin. In another week or so, they would melt it down again for new candles. The fire in the fireplace turned to embers. The family trooped to bed. As she fell asleep, Mary had a feeling that something was about to happen that would change her life. She was awakened a few hours later by the pounding of hoofbeats coming from the road. She heard her father jump from bed. She could hear him grab his gun from the place by the door. "It's so late. Who could it be?" their mother asked. Soon the rider was upon them. "The British are coming! The British are coming!" the rider shouted. With that, their father rushed outside and unhitched his horse. Then he rode to Lexington. That was rather an exciting story, wasn't it? So now I'm going to quickly read the 5 questions that go with the story. Now again, I want you to remember, you pause the video, research your answer, perhaps look for text evidence or look it up on Google if you have to, do what you need, but then come back and hit play for the next question. I'm just going to read them quickly through though, so that you can have that chance to pause. Question 1. This passage is an example of a newspaper article, poetry, historical fiction, nonfiction. Question 2. Although this story takes place on April 16th, the setting is described as winter. A, winter, B, spring, C, in the snow, D, in the rain. Number 3. We know the story takes place right before the Revolutionary War because A, Mary and Jonah's father mentioned talk of war. B, their mother was born in the New England colonies. C, a writer said the British are coming. Or D, all of the above. Number 4. The climax in the passage is when A, Mary and Jonah collect wax for candles. B, their father grabs his gun and rides towards Lexington. C, their parents talk about war? Or D, their father bought a peppermint sweet? And number 5, where does this story take place and how do you know? That's a small written question where Miss Scott's lesson will tell you. I don't need to explain the questions. I'm going to say goodbye now so you guys can listen to it again. Bye-bye.